What's good, y'all? Rich Sosa back in the building with another banger, man. So first things first, before we go ahead and get started, I just want to go ahead and say thank you, God, for giving me this opportunity. Thank y'all, the Rich Gang family. And man, y'all already know what y'all need to do. Be sure to hit that sub button if you're new. Anybody looking to join the Rich Gang family, be sure to go ahead and turn on post notifications. Hit that like button as well as be sure to go ahead and drop a comment down below when complete. So as y'all can see by the looks of the title of your screen, as well as what we are doing, I am bringing y'all the top 3 most rare builds to use on NBA 2K22 next gen, and I'm telling you, this is part 2, bringing it into another series, y'all. This first build that I got lined up for y'all is actually going to be called a very rare build, being named the first ever of its kind 3-point shooter. Now I'm telling you, with this build, I am definitely excited how it comes because of what we are going to be able to do with it on all ends of the floor. So for the finishing, as you can see, we're going to be able to get at least 22 badges in total, and I'm telling you, with the takeovers, that is what is really going to go ahead and take this build over the top with how I am making it today. And I just want y'all to know, if you are here watching for the very first time, I want you to join the Rich Gang family. So all you gotta go ahead and do is hit that sub button and everything is gonna follow up right. But as you can see, when it comes down to the shooting, I'm gonna leave it with a total of 21 badges. Make sure that you keep it at that threshold for the mid-range of a 75, and everything is gonna be perfect. Now, once it comes down to the free throw, I'm going to go ahead and put this to a 70. That's going to be able so I could take this build into any game mode of my liking. And then, once we go ahead and get into the breakdown of what we're going to look like on the defensive end, a total of 24 badges, and you do have to be very specific in all areas to maintain this build name. And now, if you do want to go about making this build a different way, you definitely can, because this is your build that you're making. But as you can see, a lot of things are going to play a huge factor into it. I love the fact that I'm going to be 6'9" with this build with the wingspan of 7'4". If you need to see it again, check the top right corner of the screen, and I promise you, you're going to be good. But right here for the playmaking, didn't go too crazy, but I went with just enough with what I feel like we are going to need to have success on this build, with a total of 16 playmaking badges, 24 for the defensive end. Then we get 21 for the shooting, 25 for the finishing, and all of our physicals are pretty much maxed out, except we are going with an 84 vertical. And right here, I truly believe this is going to be the most and best way to make this 3-point shooter build. I'm liking the name, especially with how it comes. But honestly, if you do decide to go about making this build a different way other than what I show y'all, go ahead and comment down below. So I want to know, if you are making this exact version, please do let me know. But if not, I want to go ahead and see what kind of other ways that are able to be made out of this build, as well as even if the takeovers change. But as you can see, we get the slashing, so we will be able to get contact dunks. We got the sharpshooting, rim protecting, and then finally, y'all cannot sleep on the post scoring. So whichever one of these takeovers that you decide to go with, going to be completely up to y'all. But I just want you to know right here, right now, the build name is going to be called the 3-point shooter if you made it exactly how I did. And look at the comparison of Kevin Durant. Now let's go ahead and get into the second build that I got lined up for y'all. I am telling you, as we go along, the build names are only going to continue to get even more special, rare, and with what they're going to be able to do, these are going to be very versatile builds. So this next one that I got lined up for y'all is actually going to be called the Small Ball 4. And with these builds, you absolutely have the right to change them as you please, but more so importantly, make sure that you are maintaining the same exact build name that I bring to y'all, because I do not want y'all going ahead commenting down below that you got a different build name when I am clearly showing y'all how to make these builds. Now again, I just really want to go ahead and say to everyone who is still watching, I really appreciate y'all. Just go ahead and join the family, and I promise you, everything between us is going to continue to grow even more between the Rich Gang family, and I definitely want y'all to be a part of that. So let's go ahead and get started when it comes down to the finishing on this build. As you can see, we are being very specific when it comes down to a lot of areas on this build, one being the finishing and the shooting. As well, as you can see, I did go with an 82 mid-range shot, but that is only because if you go anything higher, you are risking changing up this build name. Now, if you do want to, you can definitely go ahead and try to make this build a little bit different other than what I'm showing y'all, but that really comes down to if you want to take that risk, as well as if you feel like this is going to be the best version to make this build. So for my liking, I'm really enjoying how the 28 badges is looking, but then once you go ahead and take a look at the shooting, a total of 25, which is really, in my opinion, going to take this build over the top for that end of the floor. Now, if we go a little bit deeper into detail on this build, you're really going to be able to do everything on all ends of the floor. And the reason why I say that is because on each and every one of these builds, I'm going to go ahead and make sure that I'm going to be able to play some really great defense, make sure that the dribbling is still reliant, and then also, once you consider the shooting and the finishing, this really comes down to skill. For the shooting, at least if you are going with anything above a 70, you should be good for the shooting. But for the finishing, this really comes down to your stick work, as well as how you want to go ahead and about making these builds. Now, for my liking, the way that I make any type of build is that I make sure the physicals are on point, but also including with the playmaking. You cannot forget that. That is honestly probably a key factor in every single build that I use, because every single build that I want to run definitely has to be versatile with handling the ball, more so with the shooting. But then when it comes down to the defensive end, you can have as much defensive stats as you want. I promise you that is mainly going to come down to skill. So I am just hoping that y'all are enjoying the builds, enjoying the different types of names that we are getting, as well as the versatility that comes with every single one. But one thing that I do have to go ahead and remind y'all, we are already more than halfway through this video and y'all still have not hit that like button. So what I need y'all to go ahead and do is be sure to get at least 100 likes on this video. That is definitely going to help me out. And on top of all that, be sure to subscribe to join the Rich Gang family. Leave a comment down below. I love interacting with y'all. And man, let's go ahead and get into the making of the takeovers on this build. The shot creating, sharpshooting, lockdown, post scoring. Which one are you going to pick? I don't know, but I would have to say, pick the one that is honestly going to make your game just that much more even better. Anything that is going to enhance the way you play. I promise you, you want to go ahead and pick the takeover towards that area of the build. Let's go ahead and check out the name. And as y'all can see, like I said earlier, the small ball 4 build. Now, anything other than this build of what I bring y'all, I just want you to know, these are very different builds compared to the meta. And I just want you to also remember that when it comes down to making them, you have to be very specific in each area, or else you are going to risk changing up the build name. And that is something that I definitely do not want happening to y'all. But when it comes down to it, if you do feel like going about it a different way, I'm going to just say good luck, because again, I want y'all to make the very best builds. And the only way to do that is follow along with what I'm bringing y'all. So first things first, before we get into the making of this one, just know the final build name is going to be called the Rebounding Point. So before we go ahead and get into the making of this build, if you know already, I have actually brought y'all this build on current gen, and with that one we were able to maintain elite defense, also have the potential to get contact dunks, as well as even get the pro dribble moves. So I'm really gonna go ahead and try to replicate what I made on current gen today. So let's go ahead and get started. Now, when it comes down to the breakdown on the finishing, as you can see, we do have that threshold for the driving dunk. And what that is going to do is really take this build over the top, allowing us to get the contact dunks if we do adjust our vertical. Now, when it comes down to it, just please be sure to follow along. Now, as you can see, for the finishing end, we're going to be able to get a total of 20 badges. Then, once we go ahead and move into the shooting, very specific attributes right here. But we're going to be able to get up to 18. You can even go up higher if you wanted to. But again, you are taking a risk to the build name. Then, once we go ahead and take a look at the playmaking, a total of 23 badges is going to be perfect for me. And then finally, once we get to the defensive end, this definitely has to be the most important part of this build. So what I want y'all to remember, We are also getting extra badge points because we are in season 6, but also the extra +4 from the college championship, which in total is actually going to give us 100 plus badges. If you make this build a little bit differently, I promise you, you have a lot of potential to get the same build name, but also with even different attributes. So the way that you want to go about it should be based off of what you're comfortable with. For my liking, I'm really enjoying how this build is looking, especially on that defensive end. Gonna be able to get at least 27 badges in total, and if you add the extra 10 to this build, that's gonna put you at 37. So now, this is really up to you if you want to leave the build how I made it, but I promise you, with all of these builds, you have nothing to worry about. So again, just know that I appreciate y'all, I love y'all, and I thank y'all. To those of you who made it to the very end, we are about to close out, but again, I do not want to let a moment go by to where I do not show support to the ones who support me every single day. Now this is the badge count 20, 18, 23, and 27 in total. I not only brought y'all the best setup, but I brought y'all one of the best rare builds that you will be seeing all year on next gen as well as current gen. So again, thank y'all for the support, and man, with all that being said, thank you God for giving me this opportunity. And man, y'all already know what y'all need to do. Be sure to hit that sub button if you're new. Turn on post notifications to join the Rich Gang family. Hit that like button so we can go ahead and grow us as well. And leave a comment down below when complete. When it comes down to the takeovers, I'm really going to leave this up to y'all. But as you can see, I'm going to go with the sharpshooting and glass cleaning. And we have made the rebounding point build. Thank you, God. And man, with all that being said, I got one last thing to say. Rich out.